Well, let's go ahead and run the trailer.
Oh, you want to run Space Jam? Got you. Got you.
Do it.
This is gonna get some harsh criticism here.
Ow, boo.
All right.
Jeff account. Stone has been linked.
Basketball camp is next weekend. You got amazing potential on the court, and I can help you get there.
That's not what I want, Dad. You never let me do what I want to do. You never let me just do me.
Hold up. Wrong floor. Bet Will Smith ain't got to deal with this.
Dad!
Down! What in the Matrix hell?
Welcome to the space.
Welcome, King James. I am the king of this domain. This is the serververse.
What'd you do to my son? Where's Dom?
The only way you're getting your son back is if you and I play a little basketball. Pete, send this clown to the rejects.
Wait. What is this? I'm a cartoon?
What's up, Doc?
Come on and ride, baby, ride! I need to assemble an elite team to help get my son back.
I know what you're looking for.
So shoot, baby, shoot!
A dream team. Them, shoot the ball. Let's try that again, shall we?
King James. Welcome to the Space Jam. Introducing the Goon Squad.
You gotta win this game.
Let's end this.
Got you, Bron. And get our son back.
Yikes. Classic.
Welcome to the Space Jam.
I'm going old school on his butt.
Whoa.
Welcome to the Space Jam.
All right. So, welcome all to Courtside Central. Wait, hold on. You know what? I apologize. I'm doing this wrong. Let me start over here.
Uh-oh. Oh boy.
Finally, Courtside Central Live is back on Twitch TV. Now, if you guys don't know who we are, it doesn't matter if you don't know who we are. We are
I'm trying to look
NBA
hardcore.
talk show, interactive talk show. We are here to talk about basketball. The basketball that everyone loves, for the people, by the people, interacting with the people. And you know, the cleaner, he can't do this by himself. He's got a whole crew, a dream team, people that he's going to introduce to you. So first off, we're going to start off with the master of the stone cutter, the man who beats down, who lays the smack it down on all of those monsters' asses on Monster Hunter here on Twitch TV.
Regularly.
We're talking about Mr. J Stone 812. How are you doing, Jay? How are you doing, Stone?
I'm good, man. That was a hell of an intro. May just need to have you just do this on the normal.
There
New
you go.
professional hype man.
Yeah.
So Stone, tell me, we all just saw the trailer to the new Space Jam movie that was dropped by LeBron James. Tell us why you love this trailer so much, and the fact that you might hate it just a little bit because your favorite player, Kevin Durant, is not in this trailer.
As far as trailers go, it wasn't that bad. I don't have super high hopes for this movie. I will say this though, this movie only further submits that Michael Jordan is in fact the GOAT, and the only reason I say that is the Looney Tunes had to recruit Jordan, not the other way around. So, I mean, LeBron sort of hurt his own argument, like. So for Shannon and Nick and all those LeBron fanboys, I mean, when you have to go recruit the Looney Tunes yourself, I mean, that's a notch down. The Looney Tunes had to go get Michael Jordan to go beat the Monstars. Like, enough said. Argument over. Finally.
There you go. That is very true. And our next guy, he traded him at the trade deadline. It got rejected. He didn't pass his physical, but it's all right. He's our Hall of Fame brick wall. Hall of Fame, I said, brick wall. He is Mr. Dadbod himself, Nick Lovin. How you doing, Nick?
I'm good. That was a good job, Nam. Really appreciate
Thanks,
that.
man.
You're the man. You just cleaned this up real nice.
There you go. So as we continue talking about this Space Jam trailer here, man, I want to hear your thoughts. And I know you might be a little bit upset that Yosemite Sam is the only representation of the Spurs on this entire movie.
Yeah, I just the other representation of the Spurs, I think it's there in the imagery. When LeBron hits that brick wall, I kind of think of the cramps he had when he played the Spurs. That stopped him from playing. I mean, but that's just me though.
Nice. So what did you think of the trailer itself?
The trailer itself, I think, is actually a pretty cool trailer. I'm not gonna lie. But am I gonna see it? Yes, I'm gonna see it. Do I have high hopes? Not that much.
Yeah, I don't blame you. All right, and last but not least, who needs a Lola bunny when we have our own resident tank girl here, the lady with the spunk, the leader of the Three-Eyed Bird clan, Miss Shadow Dragon 33. How you doing?
That was an intro, and I'm gonna need that like as a ringtone. Just
There you go.
that was beautiful. Thank you, Nam. Thank you.
Anytime. So, what'd you think about it? About this new LeBron James Space Jam trailer?
Well, it's LeBron, and he's a Laker, so he's obviously that's 2 points against him. But ultimately, I was kind of digging, the kind of the throwback feel, the nostalgia factor from seeing Yosemite Sam and Grandma and all them, and then saw the Iron Giant, so that kind of made me smile a little bit. Like I said, no high hopes. I do want to watch it though.
I think that's a good chunk of us, right? I think we'll at the very least watch the movie, whether or not we think it's going to be any good or not. But it's out there. I'm glad that it's out there. It doesn't look too bad. But yes, I agree with you guys. Can't wait to just check it out and see how it goes. We need another basketball movie-ish, as you would say. All right, so we got
So Thunderstruck too, right?
Today,
Everyone. Yeah.
Thunderstruck 2 starring no superstar that we have at all.
No, it'll be James Harden this time, because Kyrie's already had a movie.
Exactly. Oh man, we just gotta get Russ back.
Hang on a second, y'all. My story is cramping my style. I'll be right back.
All right, there you go. Woo, what was that? Interesting. All right, guys. So we're gonna go through some really quick rapid fire news. Then we'll get some opinions from our peoples here. So USA basketball, and so Jerry Colangelo, who's been with the FIBA Basketball League, our team, since I think 2005. Pretty much the year after the U.S. took bronze in 2004, which, by the way, the U.S. taking bronze in 2004 in basketball, of all things, is like a sin. So Colangelo is going to be stepping down and retiring, but good for him as well. He's done a great job with the U.S. team, and Grant Hill will be taking over the mantle. So, what do you guys think about this?
Go for it. All for it. Why not? You know?
Yeah.
Is there any legit argument for why not Hill? Like, has there been anyone that's been like, why that guy? Because
I don't see why it wouldn't. Go ahead, Stan. I'm sorry.
No. I was just I haven't seen anyone like. Typically, when there's a big move change or a big name move change, and people feel some type of way about it, like they're not shy about voicing their opinion. So I feel like this is one of those things where it's like I can't imagine anyone has any huge issues with it, because if they did, we'd be seeing it all over the place.
I was gonna say it's something Grant Hill too, right? Because I would say he's one of those guys that we wish would have stayed healthy throughout his entire career. So seeing him in this kind of capacity to me is actually a positive notion, and be good because he can keep leading the team into the U.S. into prominence with a bunch of more goals than we already have as it is. All right, Nick, you got anything? Or are you good?
No, I agree with Stone on that.
All right. So next on the NBA news, we've been gone for like a week or so trying to catch up. DeMarcus Cousins, no, you're good, man. DeMarcus Cousins signs a 10-day contract with the LA Clippers, adding to the LA Clippers. But is it enough compared to pretty much what everybody else did in free agency and as well as the trade deadline?
Nope.
Nope. I'm not a fan of Cousins right now. I think he's definitely, since his injury, he's just, to me, he's been every season's kind of like stepped backwards. But I think it's smart on the Clippers to give him 10 days. Could do a 10-day contract, see how he does. But not that big of a splash for me.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for me either. He doesn't change the dynamics of the team up enough. When he went to Golden State, I think that was the trade, or that was the move where I thought, man, Golden State's just kind of still just bringing guys in, like whoever they can. They're just like grabbing them, and I thought Golden State would work out, and for him, it kind of didn't. So I don't have like super high hopes. I don't think him going to the Clippers does anything. Obviously, they don't plan on it doing anything if you sign the guy for 10 days.
Yeah.
That's a noodle at the wall kind of situation.
Well, if he even remotely like does well within the 10 days and gets a full-on contract for the year,
do you see them signing him for a year though?
No, I don't.
I think they'll sign him for the rest of the playoffs or once they get to the playoffs and all that stuff. But I think that'll probably be it, because I don't know if it will necessarily be anything more than that.
Yeah.
Chad, do you have anything else on that?
Nope. What I have to say has already been said. It doesn't really do anything for me.
There you go. All right, so the Lakers, they ended up signing a veteran guard, Ben McLemore, who was a pretty high draft pick back when he played for Sacramento, but I think a lot of people I think he's been kind of a journeyman and a good just kind of role player just in general. To make an impact for the Lakers any more than they already have with the other pickups that they had.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with him. And honestly, I don't I don't know. My feeling on the Lakers right now is sort of just let's see what happens when LeBron and AD get back. I think I mean I don't know, man. I don't know enough about the guy to really form an opinion about it, but
Well, he's
again,
just not consistent.
Fair enough.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. So it's gonna be you got to see what happens when LeBron and them come and Anthony Davis comes back because the team's no one they're not gonna get a free agent to replace that right now. And then McLemore might come in and come off, and go really well one game, and then the next game just tank it. And so not counting too much for him to really help too much.
Maybe McLemore off the bench will, put $20 in their pocket, but I really don't think they're coming for a come up.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's an interesting pickup. I know LeBron sent out a text message, or not a text message, but a tweet saying that everyone's sleeping on McLemore. But I mean, with the way that they're playing, technically speaking, I say that, but they did beat the Nets by a pretty good margin last night. So
Everybody gets lucky once in a while.
Yeah, but what was his stat line in that game though? Well, he had 17 points that game. He was 6 for 12. But look at the next game when they played the Knicks. He only had he only played for 8 minutes, but he had 3 points. He was 1 for 5 for field goals, 1 for 4 from 3.
Consistency is the breaker.
Well, I mean, I guess apparently they thought he was better than Nick Young or than what's his name and J.R. Smith. So
yeah, well, J.R. Smith.
LeBron's not picking up his homies. He's going with new homies this time around.
That's what they get for thinking, I guess.
There you go. Hey, maybe they're not listening to LeBron. They're like, LeBron was like, I want J.R. Smith, and they were like, no, we're taking Ben McLemore instead. All right, so we're going to point out some notable injuries too as well. Now, I really just kind of put this one down because Malik Beasley, who was suspended for like 14 games, is now hurt and out for 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring injury. Talk about a team that is already tanking as it is. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere fast.
Just give them a shovel and let them dig them in.
No kidding. But this next one, this one's a little bit more interesting because his career, Gordon Hayward's career, has been, I would say, plagued with injuries like left and right, whether he was with Boston, whether he was Utah, and now with Charlotte, who's been plagued with a lot of injuries, and yet surprisingly has not been too affected by the injuries as far as the record is concerned. He's going to be out with a right foot sprain for 4 weeks, for at least 4 weeks. As his thoughts on the impact of his career.
The thing about Hayward is that right foot is always going to be more prone to injury because that's the one that he just ruined. That could have ended his career when he was with us, but before, like all through college, he wasn't ever really hurt. So like the fact that he's just poor guy turned into glass, I feel bad for him. I really do. Like I really want him to be healthy and succeed because I enjoy him as a player. But yeah, I do feel bad for him. Hopefully he comes back from this sprain. But even after he had to have that rod in his pinky right after he got with Charlotte, right after he got traded, but then he's done really well.
Yeah, and I honestly just feel bad for the whole situation because even the team, I mean, they lost Ball and then now Hayward, and they're still hanging in there though. They're like the team that I like watching, teams like that come out of nowhere and do some moves in the off season and then get a good draft pick and then they're able to make some noise, and it's just kind of stinks that here he is hurt when they're needing him the most to carry him through the rest of the season to finish the season up and get into at least get a playing spot. And so we'll see what happens. Hopefully the team comes together and continues fighting the uphill battle they have.
They got Wanamaker now, don't they?
Yeah.
And it's Wanamaker. He's always been a real quiet kind of strength. He's always been a really good role player, and he's just fantastic. Like I loved watching the guy play when he was with us. So hopefully he's able to kind of step up with Hayward and ball out and do his thing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Hayward's career has kind of been a bummer, like just the injury bug, and I was kind of a big fan of. I'm not going to say of him, but of the potential that the Boston team had, because I was like, those guys were injured and they were running, what was it, rookies and 2-year players that almost that playoff run they had, and I was like, man, these guys, when Kyrie and Gordon get back, these guys are going to be dangerous, like super dangerous, and just I think that injury has definitely affected his play. It would have probably affected a lot of people's play. That's a real hard thing to come back from, and it just sucks to kind of see him, still struggling with that injury bug, and kind of going through that whole thing again. It's a bummer.
Maybe he needs to get in on some of Kyrie's sage.
He needs to talk to Kyrie's like hoodoo master or something. Like, hey, hook me up, man.
But
absolutely.
And that's got to suck too, because it shakes his confidence. I mean, it took him. Yeah, it took him 2 years to come back from this number.
Yeah, I mean,
just to start, watching him play again, and then he strained it last year, and was essentially playing on one leg in the playoffs last year, and then now he's got this going on, and it just sucks for the guy. I mean, that's. He's got to be doubting himself too. I feel bad for him.
When you start taking injuries like that, after a while, you start to question what it is your body's able to, what it can handle. And so I'm sure it really messes with your game. Constantly having that in the back of your mind, like, am I able to do this? Am I able to play as aggressive like I used to be without, having to risk an injury? Like, yeah, I'm sure that sits in the back of his head quite a bit, and this isn't going to help it at all.
Mm-mm.
And kind of just like continue on with what you guys said. Like looking at his career as a whole, it reminds me of like a Grant Hill, like we had spoke about a little bit earlier, and also a Penny Hardaway, somebody who is an all-star level who could be even bigger than what they are consistently, but just being hurt almost all the time is just unfortunate, because you kind of want to see that the best players play with the potential that they could possibly play at. So well wishes for him, and hopefully he'll get through this like he's done with the other ones too as well. So our next injury, we go to LA, which I'm sure Shadow Dragon's like good for them. I'm glad he's hurt. But defensive point guard, stopper, Oklahoma hater, Pat Beverley, had surgery on his broken hand, is going to be out for at least 3 to 4 weeks. Guys, how do you guys think this affects the Clippers?
I think they'll be all right. He does bring defense to the team, but I mean, I think they'll survive. They'll be all right.
Not a fan.
Yeah, he'll come back. He'll continue to bully. It is what it is.
He'll be all right.
Yeah. He's not going to bully less because of an injury. Like, He'll trash talk and bully from the bench. It's
Look,
just what it is.
all I'm saying is that Marcus picked up a technical while he was out on while he was recovering from his calf injury for calling bullshit. So, I like that energy when they bring it.
As an OKC fan, obviously, being a Pat Bev fan isn't a thing. But I can respect the fact that the guy just like he plays the mind game with people, and he really likes to just agitate as much as possible. And I mean, it's a working strategy, obviously.
Look, he's smart. He moves into his opponent's heads and just lives there rent free, just squatting in there, and it is fun to watch.
Oh yeah, once he's there, it's like he just doesn't leave. Like they can play one time and then never see each other again until like the playoffs, and then it's like all that bad blood just immediately comes back as soon as that game one starts.
You wonder if what he tells himself to feed that when they're not playing.
I was gonna say it's like at the very least, it gives more time for Rondo to play, to get in and get some more chemistry in with the rest of the guys too as well. But here's another big one that literally just happened over this past weekend, and another rookie goes down. James Wiseman, the torn meniscus in his right knee, and it's been reported that he could miss the rest of this season for the Golden State Warriors. We talked about the possibility of LaMelo being a Rookie of the Year and then going down with an injury. Now James Wiseman, one of the guys who are also talked to as Rookie of the Year, a candidate, goes down. This is a big injury. What do you guys feel about it?
Yeah, it's terrible for him. I hate that it's happening, but it did. I mean, hopefully he bounces back, and I mean, it's not like a career ending or anything like that. I mean, he's gonna miss the rest of if he does miss the rest of the season. He'll be still young. He's still got a long career ahead of him. I mean, he's playing for Golden State. They always have a chance to make it wherever they however far Steph Curry takes them. But I wish him the best. I know he'll bounce back from it though. I mean, he's a competitor. He didn't get there just by raw talent. He worked for it, and I think I could see him bouncing back no problem.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
It's injuries suck, but I think he'll be. I think we sort of know where Golden State's at. I mean,
yeah.
Steph's gonna have to work some serious magic for that team, and so I think, I agree with Nick. I think he'll come back. Hopefully he won't be gone for the entire season, but if he is, come back next year, just rest up, heal up, and go from there. See what happens.
Yeah, I wouldn't stress that knee out too much. I mean, I know Steph's gonna carry it through, but I mean, if he could save his knee a little bit more, just let it heal up really well for the off season and just carry it over.
They've got access to healthcare the rest of us mere mortals could only imagine. So, I'm torn meniscus for, him is not like it is for, me or you guys. It's just, it is what it is. At that point, it's just a matter of, rehab and rest. I think he'll be fine. So,
yeah.
But I do hope he gets better, bounces back and doesn't lose any of his confidence, because he is fun to watch.
He is. I've enjoyed watching him play.
So with his injury going down and with LaMelo going down, the Rookie of the Year, like I said, is wide open.
Peyton Pritchard.
Does it make it? Do you think it's Peyton? I was gonna say, does
It's
it
still
make it
going to
more
LaMelo.
interesting?
It's still going to LaMelo.
Because I was gonna say there's an argument for Tyrese Halliburton and also Anthony Edwards, who's been balling the last couple of weeks.
To me, LaMelo, when he was playing, had the most consistent stat line in all the rookies. Even after his injury now, sure, they're going to have more points, but consistently averages. LaMelo was I think by far the best rookie this year.
Pritchard's a 4-year college player. So he came in with a little more growth and leadership and a little more size on him, just from his age, and he's doing pretty friggin' awesome. So I really wish people would put some more, put some respect on Peyton's name.
This is fair, because I was gonna say I would say a lot of people are not necessarily putting very much respect on Boston just in general.
Mm-mm. This is a lifelong struggle, my friend. This people find out you're a Boston fan and they're like, oh.
I mean,
All right.
Every team struggles. Let's put it that way. Every team struggles. I mean, honestly, the best example given would be look at Golden State. They were sitting high on the top of that mountain. Everyone thought that was going to be the next dynasty that we'd see winning, championships for like 8 years, and well, it was a good dream.
Only takes one wrong landing.
Yeah. But I'm honestly real curious to see what happens with that team when Clay gets back. Like, because that he impacts that Golden State team like heavily, and so I'm curious, like, just for hypothetical conversation. Let's say this Golden State team doesn't change, right? And this is the same team they have next year, but they get a Klay Thompson back that's like 100%. I still think that's a playoff team. I don't know if it's a title contending team, but I think it's a playoff team. I think Klay just brings that sort of dynamic to that team. A little tangent, but
It's okay.
It's like you're all good. I need you to start singing the Mortal Kombat Test Your Might song.
Do I have to sing it, or can I just like play a little bit of it?
You have to sing it.
I don't.
Yeah, you have to do it by mouth. You can't play it, because if we post this on YouTube, we're gonna get busted.
It goes on YouTube. It doesn't stay on. At least I don't think it stays on Twitch. I don't know. That would be bad.
It goes on YouTube, but they'll knock us if we actually play a song. So you have to sing it. So sing it.
Damn
Get it started.
Hit start. Trying to get the gist here. What is it? Don't. Is that what you're looking for?
Finish him.
And then you
just
hold on. I gotta pull up the list of names that they say in the song so I can make sure I get them right.
Every character.
That's the gist of their lyrics. Mortal Kombat and character names.
All right.
When you get to the character names, you have to switch into the Game of Thrones theme for the angst.
There you go. By far the greatest video game song of all time. Just throwing it out there. It gets me hyped every time.
That's a tough one to beat for sure. It's definitely a classic.
I don't know. I still kind of enjoyed.
Oldie but a goodie.
Exactly. All right. So we are going to our Mortal Kombat Presents Test Your Mights. It is a segment in which you guys will defend your team, and I have a question for each one of you guys so that you can defend your team in any way, shape, or form. In Stone, that means you actually have to defend Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, truly. You can't just be like, I don't know.
Okay. I promise I won't rag on them.
There you go. All right. So, Nick, we're going to go with you first, man. San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, man. It's been a long day. It's a Monday, and you want me to just think right off the rip here? Come on.
Hey, man, I think you got this one covered, or else I wouldn't put you first.
All right.
Right. So, LaMarcus Aldridge is no longer with the team. Is playing for the Nets, and his stat line has improved since he has left the San Antonio Spurs. not only has he improved, he also has a higher chance of winning a championship since he's left the team. Somebody else has done this prior to this season before, as we talked about maybe once, twice, 10 times, or 100, however it may be. Kawhi Leonard, who also left the San Antonio Spurs and became a New Balance superstar. So, is it your coach? Is it Popovich? Is it Popovich holding these guys down because of the system?
Well, and that's the key thing there is you're saying it's a system, and Aldridge obviously the experiment with him did not work, and even Popovich did even say that he's trying to coach a player that already found his play style with the Blazers, that he can't change a player, and so Popovich kind of already admitted that point that he was not coachable, even though he was trying to be nice about it and professional about it. But pretty much he had to find a new system to put Aldridge in. And Aldridge is not a guy that's going to take over. Now, in the regular season, he can go off. It's the playoff time when he's the man, and he's got to do it. With the Nets, he's not the man. He's not going to be the guy that's the highlight guy. So he could just stay in his spot, do his shot, because he's a great shooter. But with the Spurs, they requested more out of him. Play some defense, do this. And I don't think he ever bought into the system. So of course, your stats aren't going to be as great as what they could be. And with the Nets, he doesn't have to go there. There's no pressure. You've got 3 amazing offensive players with Kyrie, Harden, and KD, and you just got to do your thing. Pretty much, just go out there, go to your spot, hit that. And there was actually one on the Spurs page. I thought this was pretty funny. They showed a picture with Aldridge, and it showed 3 other, I can't remember the Nets players that were playing defense, but they said, look, he's doing the same thing he did with us. Plays, he's away from this. He's playing center, but he's away from the paint on defense. And so, I will say Popovich I think his system is figured out. I think teams know how to play him, and he's got to adjust. But he's getting up there in age. I think it's starting to come to a place where, hey, after Tim Duncan retired, after Tony left, after Manu retired, maybe it's time for you to retire as well. And he's got tons of assistants that he's been molding and giving them expertise and in the system that I think he's slowly given reins to, and maybe he does need to make a decision on what he wants to do for the future. But apparently he's saying he's going to stay. So we'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen in this offseason with DeRozan. I don't know. We have a lot of young talent in guards. We just don't have any big men. So I've been saying I hope they go get a big guy that can play down low and with defense. But we'll see. But as Aldridge, just his stats going up for the Nets. I mean, he doesn't have to do anything. He just hits his spot, gets right there. He can just, right there with a water bottle and just wait for the ball to come to him, and then he just shoots it whenever it comes. He doesn't have to actually do anything.
There you go. Well, I was gonna say though, I mean, with the 7 seconds or less offense, you wouldn't think Aldridge would be the guy that you would put into that kind of offense, right?
Well, he's not playing defense. I mean,
that's a little bit.
He's gonna do like the whole Shaq. You guys run down. I'll be right over here. Get the ball back. Let's go.
Gotcha. Now, I was gonna say, so for you as a fan of the San Antonio Spurs, would you like for them, like as far as the Spurs and Greg Popovich is concerned, would you like for them to have somebody be kind of like a go-to player? Because it doesn't seem like you guys have had one since.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, that's the thing. And the Spurs is a system. I mean, that's the reason why we beat the Heat is because every commentator that was watching it, they were like, it's like watching Mozart in basketball. Every player was touching the ball. There were multiple players in double digits. It's about knowing what your part is in the offense and getting there and playing in that and staying at that. The only difference I'll say was when Kawhi was, I believe it was his second year in the finals, and he took over one of the games. It was the last championship but there was one round that we were playing that he just went off. I mean, he was just shooting threes, and then I remember Papa's doing an interview, and they said, "Well, where did that come from? What plays did you do?" And he said, "We didn't call plays. That was just him doing his own thing, and as long as he's making them, it's fine." And so, which he was. I mean, that's when he was going off that whole playoff series, and so. That with that exception though, most of the Spurs it's a system. I mean, it's all about defense. Get to your spot in defense, guard this person. It's all about matchups, and then on offense, running to your spot. If you're going to shoot cold, you're going to shoot cold. But hopefully, they're hoping that they warm up and start hitting the shots. If not, it's going to be a long night on offense.
Fair. All right, so Stone. We are going to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder with you, sir.
Oh boy!
As you know, or as everyone thinks they know, Oklahoma City has been going through I would say, a restructuring, a rebuild, as you can say. But it always seems like every time we try to go to a rebuild, we get to that point where we're almost in the playoffs every single year. Now. It seems like they took a step in a direction where we went ahead and we're going to go ahead and just commit to tanking in a sense that they actually have deactivated Al Horford for the rest of the season.
Right.
Now, with all the trades that we have done to literally trade everyone, whether it's George Hill, all the veterans, the people, we've done nothing but a good job of taking care of our players. How can you defend not letting Al Horford go to a team that needs to be a championship team? Why are we shutting him down for the rest of the year, even though he's absolutely healthy?
I mean, honestly, I thought you didn't want me to rag on them. I thought this was supposed to be positive vibes. Honestly, man, I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like they had him and they felt like, any trade or any team that makes a good enough offer, it doesn't matter who the team is, like if it's a good enough offer, we'll do it. I don't think that in their mind they had the thought of, well, let's find a team that this guy can maybe progress further with, or maybe make a run with. I don't think that was on their mind. I think that's what ties into this like full rebuild, where it's like, we talked about it, I think, the last episode, where it's like, let's get as much as we can, whether it be draft picks or anything like that, or players that we can, move later or whatever. Like, let's do what we can now, so when the draft rolls around and stuff like that, there's a lot of leverage there. It's my opinion. Like, I'm not like trying to state facts or anything, but that's what it feels like to me. Is I don't think Al Horford was a piece that was like, he wasn't Russell, he wasn't Harden. He wasn't in a position with that team to, maybe try and talk, okay, these are some teams I'd like to go to. I think OKC knew what they were going to do with them, and I mean, that's ultimately what they did.
And he's a perfectly healthy player, a veteran among veterans who's done nothing but good work with Boston, and who did really good work with Philadelphia too as well. Why hold on and shut down a guy like that? I mean, that just seems so odd.
Like, I honestly couldn't tell you. Like, there have been, I mean, and like I've stated it, there's been so many why questions with this team, decisions that have been made. Like, this is a Sam Presti thing. It's just like, why, man? And those are answers we will never get. Like, maybe once Sam Presti retires and he writes a book or something, we might get a sliver of information for all these questions that we've been like, why'd you make that decision? But as it stands, we're never going to get that. We're never going to know. You know what I mean? He's always been, that organization has always been pretty close to the vest with information. They don't let a whole lot of stuff come out that they don't want out. So, I don't know, man. It's a good question. Should maybe like
different-
become a journalist
taking
on the
their-
side and just start asking Sam Presti these questions. And if they start screening your questions, just be like, all right, look, I'll ask those questions. And then when you get in there, just start hammering him. Just, you know?
I think you probably should just hide in the rafters above the locker room and just listen.
Yeah, just have a recorder. Because these, I mean, it's seriously, like, these are all questions I'm sure everyone would love to know what the thought process is. But yeah, that's something I don't think we'll ever hear. I don't think we'll ever get those answers.
We need closure.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for basically, I wouldn't say waste, but I mean, basically letting a good player like not have a year. I mean, he could have been with San Antonio, and helped them out for all they needed,
Mm.
At the very least.
I mean,
being
I see
part of a playoff team.
Yeah, I
we've
see
taken
what
care
you're
of everyone
saying.
else, whether it's Russ or Harden or everybody else.
Yeah, I see what you're saying though. Like, I mean,
But
there's
is
good players
what
out
it
there
is
that
what
you
it is.
feel like teams should do right
All right.
by. So I get it, but it's Oklahoma City, and like I said, I couldn't answer that question if I wanted to, because I have the same question.
You've got
There you go.
questions. That's understandable.
So last but not least, here are the three I burned. I green, and I love parquet flooring. The Boston Celtics. Beginning of the year, and even on this show, we talked about the Boston Celtics basically being the gatekeepers of the East, along with the 76ers and along with the Bucks before the Nets decided to build their super team. But right now, even though Boston has won their last 3 games, they are sitting 7th in the East, 28-26, close to the New York Knicks, who are 27-27, behind the Charlotte Hornets and the Atlanta Hawks. From a team that we were talking about that were the gatekeepers of the East to a team that's basically fallen angel in there, and the Nets are just getting better, and other teams are getting better too as well. The long game that Boston's been playing, is it a concern for you guys? Is it a Boston? Is it the players, or is that a coaching thing? What's going on there in Boston?
So my whole thing is that we've had less, we have fewer players, fewer player days. We've had more player out days. We've very rarely played with our full roster. We've done it 2 or 3 times at this point. I don't think it's a coaching issue. I do think it is on the leadership from Tatum. Currently, Jaylen Brown is the more consistent player. We're just now getting Romeo Langford back, and he is making a hell of a difference, even as he's not even into game shape yet. He's got to shake the cobwebs off. But I feel like Tatum wastes more time, crying about trying to get the calls, and he's not the true leader that he could be and that he really needs to be. So it's like he got the max contract and then started playing like he was, like Perk said the other night, started playing like he was, just an underpaid, disgruntled bench player. And he's not. He's supposed to be the star. If he wants the franchise tag, which Boston hasn't used on him yet, he needs to start acting like it. But even the team says that it's I don't think it's on Brad Stevens at all. He can drop the plays, and the man's a genius. He can drop the plays. He can do what he's supposed to do, but ultimately what happens on the court is on the players. He can say, hey, you run this play, run this pick, do this pop, quit settling for the step back, sidestep, whatever 3, and drive to the damn paint. But if Tatum's not doing it, or any of the players aren't doing that, that's on them. Personally, I wish Brad Stevens would call more timeouts when the opponent gets on a run, try to break that momentum, But I really don't think ultimately that the problem is the coach. I think it's young guys that need to be leaders that haven't fully grown into the role.
Gotcha. So with that also being said, though, does that mean that they don't necessarily have an identity to fall back on, or because I mean, when you think of the Spurs, you think of their system and like defense. When you think the Nets, you think firepower, speed, spacing, and pacing. And when you think Boston, I don't know. I necessarily know exactly what they're going for nowadays.
They don't either.
What can you say about that?
I really don't think they do either. I think that not having the full roster
Oh,
is really hurting them because they can't get that chemistry together and become, who they're supposed to be, or even try to develop what they want to be. You got individual players that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Jalen is consistent. Marcus can be trusted to try to kill himself going after the ball. Cardiac Kimba's starting to come back. And then we got, the new guys trying to work their way into the system and doing a pretty good job. Tristan Thompson's been showing up ready to play, and me likey. And Romeo's coming back, taking charges and doing what he's supposed to be doing. And it's really cool to watch. But if they can't all play together, then no, that identity is not going to be there, and they're not getting the chance to show what they want that identity to be. And I really don't think that they've truly talked about it. I think there needs to be more discussion. Of course, we're never going to be privy to what happens in the locker room, but I would love to know.
I say, don't you feel like that falls under more Brad Stevens?
Yeah,
as
I really
far as
don't.
identity of the
I mean, he can try, but as the coach, he can only do what he can do. He can say, go out there. And if you listen to him when he's mic'd up, he's always coaching. He is telling him, finish the plays, play defense. You guys, this is not Celtics basketball. He's trying to bring that to them, and they're not doing it. And that's really, I think that's ultimately on these guys not being maybe ready for the roles that they've been expected to take. The constant struggle has been we need big men.
Okay.
But you got to get that roster together. And they're hurting my feelings, but I've started. We're starting to see some sparks back. Getting to play a bunch of games at home, I think really helped. And then going to Denver and just finally starting to show up and put up a fight. We've gone from a third quarter choke team to a kind of a third quarter comeback team. It's taken them a little too long to get their legs underneath them, but I think they're starting to figure out who they are. Starting to fall back on that storied history of Boston. But no, ultimately, I don't think that's on Brad Stevens. I love that dude. Dude's a genius. I do wish he'd pull Tatum off the floor, though. Next time you settle for that stupid step back three, I'm gonna get you. Pull off the floor. Pull him off the floor, please, for God's sake. He's not helping.
Say, and the other point of view on that is that the players may need somebody else to listen to, because if the coach didn't have the players' attention, then who are they playing for? But of course, that's if you were to play devil's advocate on that too as well. And plus, you guys don't play Taco Fall enough, man.
I agree.
That's a shame.
I really agree. That is a shame.
All right.
But he's a star. I love that dude.
Oh yeah, I do too. He's on my 2K fantasy my league team with Nick. So, all right, so guys, thank you for doing the Mortal Kombat's Test Your Might, and now we are on to foul or let them play. Basically, guys, we're gonna watch a handful of videos of some things that happen. You guys call a foul if you guys feel like it's a foul. If you don't feel like it is, just let them. You can just say let them play. Let them. Referees here. So we're going to start off with A. Smith criticizing Mr. Russell Westbrook.
Alrighty. I'm going to make sure I got the right. I think I have all your videos, so.
Westbrook's numbers last night mean absolutely nothing to me because.
Whoa, Stephen A. You need to calm down with that little My goodness. My goodness, sir. Let me switch screens before you start getting all agitated. Woo! All right. Let's go.
We only just need the first minute of this one.
The first minute? Gotcha.
Westbrook's numbers last night mean absolutely nothing to me because even though that's great numbers, that's what Westbrook can do. We all know this. He's a former league MVP. He's the most athletic point guard we have ever seen in NBA history. Bradley Beal and you are in the backcourt together, and y'all are 17 and 28 in the Eastern Conference. I mean, damn. You've played with some great players over the years, some talent, and not a single title to show for it. If I'm going to look at everybody else, whether it's LeBron and Kyrie and Steph and everybody else, I got to look at that too. The numbers are the numbers. That's Russell Westbrook. He can do that to anybody. But I'm at a point in time in his career where it's like, it ain't about that no more. It's about whether or not you can get to another level to win the chip. Swim at.
All right, if you want to go ahead and play Westbrook's response to this criticism.
Yep. Let me swap the videos out. All right, Russ, let us know.
With that hat.
Prime example, man, is, I watch these college games and I watch these kids and these announcers, man, they get on their TV and just say anything about a kid. They don't even know him. They don't know his family. They don't know where he's from. They don't know what he's been through. They don't know his struggles. They don't know his pain. They don't know anything about the kid. But one thing said on TV can determine how you perceive this kid on TV, which will allow him not to be able to reach his goals, which will allow him not to be able to get drafted, which will allow him not to take care of his family, which will now not create generational wealth, which now, makes our people and the minorities, the underserved community, which makes that gap. It's way bigger than basketball. That's my entire life focus. And my wife, that's what she's mentioning, because we talk about all the time, is that, I sit back. I don't say much. I don't like to go back and forth about people. But one thing I won't allow to happen anymore is let people create narratives and constantly just talking shit for no reason about me, because I lay it on the line every night, and I use my platform to be able to help people all across the world, and nobody can take that away from me. I've been blessed to be able to have a platform to do it, and like I said before, a championship don't change my life. I'm happy. I was a champion once I made it to the NBA. Like, I grew up in the streets. I'm a champion. Like, nobody can. I don't have to be an NBA champion. I know many people that got NBA champions that's miserable, have done nothing for their community, have done nothing for the people in our world. And for me, man, my legacy, like I mentioned before, is not based on what I do on this court. I'm not gonna play basketball my whole life. My legacy is what I do off the floor. How many people I'm able to impact and inspire along my journey, man. And that's how I keep my head down and keep it pushing, because it's very important that you don't let the negativity seep in, because it's been like that my whole career. Honestly, there's no other player that kind of takes the heat that I take constantly. But I take it as positive, because obviously I'm doing something right if people talking about me, and that's how I feel. And I stay my best foot forward, stay prayerful, keep my family close, and keep it like that.
Let's get ready.
All right, guys. You heard Stephen A. have some criticism towards Russell, and of course you hear Russell's response to the criticism. So, in y'all's opinion, is this a foul, or you just let it play on? What do you guys feel about Russell's response and also Stephen A.'s criticism?
I mean, no, let it play. Stephen A's right. Like, Russ took it like more personally than what it was. Like, Stephen A was only criticizing what I think what a lot of people criticize, and it's on the court. It had nothing to do with off the court. So I think it's funny to hear Russ say, they pick on, high school kids or college kids and stuff like that. And, they nitpick. That's their job. Some of them are relatively harsh, but Russ Russ seems like the guy who he said it, like he can take the criticism, he uses it as motivation, and that's great. Like, why? That's the sort of message you should be pushing. If you're going to talk about, you're going to get criticized. And I think, like I said, he took it a different way than I know Stephen A probably was implying, because Stephen A was talking about on the court, and he's right. Everyone knows it. Russ is arguably the most athletic point guard in the league. Hands down. It's not, there's nobody I can think of that can play above the rim like he can. It's insane to watch that dude play. But his play style doesn't help a team. That's all he was saying. His play style does not allow a team or push a team to win a title. And, people can argue he can. Sure, he can. But that play style he has doesn't work. You can talk about triple doubles all you want to, but that's a single player stat. That's just him doing it. And as we can clearly see, that doesn't get you anywhere. So, Russ, can he took the criticism fine. He can disagree with it. That's whatever, but it's shown. We've seen it. You know what I mean? We've seen that aggressive play style in OKC. Didn't get anywhere. We saw. I felt like in Houston there might have been a change. Turns out not so much. Nothing. Didn't really get you anywhere. Harden was kind of his own thing. Houston's different than OKC. Completely understandable. But ideally, Russ going to Houston didn't do anything. And now sort of the same thing in Washington. You do have Bradley Beal. You have, you can change so much on a team, but he doesn't. And I don't know how many days ago or how many weeks ago it was that he he had another triple double or something. And he plays so hard, and it's such a bummer that he will probably be a guy who doesn't win a championship. And I love the mentality of I may never win a title, but I got to the NBA, and and so that right there is like, to him, that I'm a champion because I made it to the NBA. But for a guy whose hashtag was why not, like, why is that your plateau? Like, and this is just my opinion, but I want to hear you say that you want to win a title. Not, it would be great if we won a title or something, but it's not really a priority for me. Like, what? Like, what are you doing, man?
I got that same thing when Westbrook was talking. It's like, what is he doing? Because he's obviously not playing for a title. He's just playing for fun now.
Yeah, I've been saying it for a while. I think we all agree that I don't, and maybe not. You're different. I don't know, but I think for the most part we all kind of agreed that we don't see Russell winning a title. But that mindset, that's one mindset that drives me nuts. And it's, well, I'm not here to win a title. I've done what I want to do in my career. I'm happy with, if I were to retire now, like, my legacy isn't on the court, it's off the court. Like I get all that, but like, has that been your mentality the whole time? Like, the whole time, to just go out and ball and not really worry about, elevating your team or doing anything? Because, like, to me, that's crap, bro. Like, you're, and again, this is just my opinion, and I'm sort of like, pushing my perspective onto somebody, and I understand that, but like, your mentality in the NBA should be to win a title. Your drive, your motivation, all of it should be the best player, to be the best player you can be and win a title. That's the goal. So if that's not what you're doing, why are you there? To just play basketball? Because you do that anywhere. But if your motivation is, well, I'm just out here to do me, then what the hell are you doing, man? But like I said, let him play. Let him play, ref. Let him keep going. I know Stephen A is going to have something to say.
I agree with Stone. It's, it's Stephen A. Smith, Stephen A. presented some very valid points. What are you doing to elevate your team? And then Russell just kind of went this way with it, and he interpreted it how he wanted to interpret it. And I mean, that's fine. It's everybody lives with their own perspective. But yeah, I mean, if your mentality isn't to win a title, then like Stone said, what are you doing? Yeah, if your legacy is off the court, okay, but what are you even doing? Like, your dream was to make it to the NBA and then plateau and just be this mediocre guy that plays super hard but has nothing to show for it at the end.
I mean, like, no, I'm just like the MVP, great,
Yeah,
fantastic. The All-Star games, fantastic. Like, all of that's great. All of that's, that's stuff you can, hang your hat on and be fine with. But like, I just feel like for that to be it, and in your mind be like, okay, well, I'm good with it. It's like, why? Like, what if you're good with it, then why are you like, what are you doing at this point?
Russell's response didn't feel honest to me. Like, it felt like he was trying to play off what what Stephen A said, like with that's not actually what I want, even though I've said before that that's what I wanted. And that's and I'm going to take it in this completely different direction and try to invalidate everything Stephen A said, which was true. Instead of using it to drive him, it sounded like he was just kind of like, oh, it's just haters hating, and nobody gets more heat. Nobody takes more shit than me. I'm like, well, first off, I guarantee you that's not true. But what are you gonna do? Let it play.
What about you, Nick? You got anything else to say on it?
I agree with what Stone already said. Westbrook obviously does not want to win a championship, though, and he's just playing for fun. I think that's a kind of a weak response.
So I got a question for you guys. If he doesn't win a championship, would you respect him as a player compared to other players who may have joined super teams to win a championship just to win a championship?
Well, I'll respect him because he's had amazing athleticism, and so even if he doesn't win a championship, he's still gonna be respected out of the league. As much as I hated his whole, like, every time he made a dunk and he just thought he was like the most amazing player in the world kind of attitude.
Whatever. That's why you have him as your package, man. Don't lie.
Exactly.
I mean,
but
ahead,
I respect it. I love it, and I respect it, and so I think I would still respect him because he did not leave a team. I mean, you could say he went to the Rockets, which was, I mean, not a super team, but James Harden was definitely trending that team up, and but he didn't do what these other guys are doing, where they're just totally loading up one team, and he's going to play his style wherever he's at, and that's not necessarily a good thing, but I respect his athleticism.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. There's no question that he's a Hall of Famer, but there's been a lot of great players and a lot of guys that, they're Hall of Famers, never won a title, but that doesn't diminish them by any means. Like, I don't look at them differently than anybody else. Like, when we talk about Allen Iverson, we understand the guy never won a ring, but we don't ever, we don't ever, I say, degrade him as a player because he never won a ring.
We don't criticize him.
Right.
We don't criticize him for
we
that.
understand, the situations. We understand, everything that he went through as a player and everything like that. So, Russ will get the same. I mean, there will obviously be haters out there, but Russ will get, as far as I'm concerned, will get the same treatment. He didn't win a ring, and that's fine. But that does not take away from the player he is, and just how incredible he is as an athlete.
I've got more respect for players who go out there and just work their tail ends off and play aggressively and maybe never win a ring than people who jump ship and go to super teams just for the sake of a ring. That pisses me off.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
All right. So as you guys know, it's been kind of like the big thing of the entire weekend, the weeks, whatever. Kevin Durant and Michael Rappaport got into it in the privacy of their own DMs, where KD had a few choice words and things that he had to say, unfortunately, which I'm not going to tell anyone here because it's language that I prefer not to ever use in my life either. The NBA ended up fining him $50,000, which is basically chump change for Kevin Durant. But you will see here his response. Do you guys, once we see the response, just want to hear from you guys whether you guys think it's a foul or they should just play on this one?
I'm sorry that people saying the language I use. That's not really what I want people to see and hear from me. But hopefully I can move past it and get back out on the floor. Initially, I didn't think it was that bad. Just a strain, I thought it was a grade 1. It felt like that, and then we did a second scan, and they said it was a little deeper in that. So one of those things where I'm not feeling a ton of pain, but it's just like you don't want to, force one of these injuries and go out there and make it worse. So it's just like, in my mind, I'm just like, man, I could play, but then it's also like, man, you got to be smart and cautious with this type of injury. So just try to be patient with it all, and just rehab as hard as I can. And I've been through this situation before, so I just try to take myself back to that place. Piggyback on what Steve said. I mean, I feel great. Feel like
Is that pretty much it? Just his.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the rest of it is him talking about
recovery,
coming back from injury.
Gotcha.
Coming back from injury, more or less. Pretty sure you guys have read through the messages between him and Michael Rappaport. So
he's not sorry he said it. He's sorry he got blasted for it.
Exactly. He even said it. I don't want people to know that I speak that way. Like, come on, man.
Sorry, bro.
It's a foul.
If you don't, yeah, foul, absolutely.
No, well, okay, hold on. The foul is Michael Rappaport blasting it.
No,
that's the foul.
The foul is using that terminology.
Hey, man. Look.
Thank you, Nick.
Look. The only reason.
I don't care what
no. Hold on.
does.
The only reason we have an issue with it is because we saw it. That's it. All that terminology probably gets used in the league on a daily basis, on a regular basis. We just don't see it. So the foul is Michael Rappaport blasting it instead of just handling his business like a man and putting it on.
We're gonna call it a double tech, is what I'm gonna say, because it doesn't matter if he didn't want to see it in public or not. It still went out, and he deserves it. I think the only reason why they did 50,000 is just because that's the consistent.
No, like don't get it
ruling.
twisted. Like I'm not defending Kevin Durant.
Like,
don't think I am.
It doesn't matter, but you are, because you said just play on.
No.
You're saying to play on.
Yes.
It's a foul. We need to stop where he was, and just because he even said it. I said it, and I didn't want people to actually know how I talk. Then don't say it. It's that simple. You get paid. I mean, he's freaking Kevin Durant. Why does he have to even answer to Rappaport about anything?
He doesn't.
It's bigger than
Why
them.
even respond to him? Yeah,
But
this is a bigger subject.
Come on,
it's bigger than them.
He's soft as Charmin. That's why he had to respond to him. Come on, dude.
But it is bigger than them. They got people looking up to them, whether they like it or not. How would they feel if somebody, came at their kid like that, or came at somebody they cared about like that? Can blast him. It's not it's not that Stephen Rappaport wasn't handling his business like a man. He was calling KD out. Like he said in the leave me alone, dude. And KD just kept at it.
Yeah, but that's when you block him.
And we're hearing two different stories. Kevin Durant was saying, "Oh, we talk like that all the time," or something like that. And then Rappaport's saying, "No, we never had that. We don't talk like that. I'm not a friend with him." And so you're hearing two different accounts here, which is true. We don't know because we really won't know. But the reason why Rappaport said he even sent it out was just because he started bringing his wife into it.
Right.
And so, okay, but still, I mean, I understand. I there's a foul on both sides. It's double tech.
I mean, agree. Agree.
There-
If you want to
there's-
say
there-
foul on both sides, I can give you that, but
Well,
it's certainly not
this is what I'll say.
one-sided.
This is what I'll say. If they were really friends, like, and they talked with each other before, and they did banter back and forth with each other before, and now this time Rappaport got hurt and then he sent it out, yeah, that's double tech. If it's the other way around where they never had this kind of banter back and forth, they never really got onto each other, and Kevin Durant just responded because of his what Rappaport was saying, then I don't think it's a technical. I think it's just a foul on KD, because if that's not the truth, then yeah, I mean, shoot, someone started throwing that out at me, I'm gonna put that out there. Hey, don't talk like this, because it needs to be exposed.
Well, and I think, I mean, obviously, the whole thing was it was stupid. Like, I don't know why KD thought that was okay. I think that Rappaport, he sort of talked about how he kind of wished he hadn't put it out on social media. And everyone, we all understand that, like, when you start going after someone's family, like, it's well beyond personal. But I understand that it's two sides to this story, but I'm inclined to believe Rappaport when he says that, like, him and KD aren't friends like that to where they can insult each other that way. Because if they were, I don't think he posts that on social media. Like,
right,
you wouldn't do that to someone you're that close with, right? So
you go through and you read, when actual friends are roasting each other, there's a line that doesn't get crossed. And there's words that are not slung around. I mean, me and Stone have been friends for years, and we roast each other on the regular.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that don't get said.
Yeah, there's lines you don't cross, and if they were as close as they were, Rappaport wouldn't have put him on social media like that, because the biggest thing is, it's like Nick said, he's Kevin Durant. And if you're that close as friends, you wouldn't blast your friend like that. So
it'd have been bro, we got to talk about that.
Yeah, like that's immediate, like, FaceTime or phone call where you're just like, all right, I think we've crossed that line.
And it was hostile. I read the entire thread.
Yeah.
That shit was hostile. There wasn't no banter happening.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. If it was truly that Rappaport were friends and he was just trying to get some publicity out of this whole thing, because he's been around, but I mean, for the last few years he's been kind of declining, and he might want to get some publicity, then yeah, that's a double take. But I think this was Kevin Durant being KD, thinking maybe he was on one of his other accounts, his burner accounts,
his one of his 7 accounts. Yeah.
When someone shows you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
Because he was real quick to go, I'm sorry that people saw that I talk like that. I'm really sorry people saw me talk like that. But let me talk about coming back from this injury, because I'm not actually sorry I said it. I'm just sorry I got caught.
Yeah. Like obviously, I feel like that most apologies in the NBA are pretty much that. It's like, we got caught, so here's this apology that I was told to issue out. But
as they're just like reading off this piece of paper in front of you,
KD is one. If you wanna share blame, like, that's KD. Like, he went way sideways and he didn't have to, for whatever reason. I don't care what Rappaport said about you or anything. Like, to go that hard is not okay. But again, my only criticism from Rappaport was throwing it all out there. Like, you knew what was going to happen when you did it. And to act like you didn't know is ridiculous, because none of us are in the NBA. None of us are involved with anything in the NBA. And I can promise you, every single one of us, if we were told, hey, I've got all these DMs from Kevin Durant talking some major, major trash, we would all go, if you post that, like, he's getting fried. Like, we wouldn't even have to think about it, because he's Kevin Durant. Like, it is what it is. So, I can agree with Nick on that part. It's a double take both sides. Like, they both had their issues and mess ups.
I think there was definitely a better way that he could have gone away to exposing this. Not have gone so social with it, maybe shown the league or gone around. But maybe Rappaport didn't think he was going to get the response he really wanted, and I don't know. But It is
I
what
mean,
it is. I'm glad the NBA stuck to what they've been doing, and that's one thing I will say about the NBA is they're one of the leagues, like, because NFL is so inconsistent with all their stupid things that they're doing, but the NBA, in my book, they're all across the board. There's zero tolerance for it, and I like to see that. I like to see that consistency, and doing that to KD shows, hey, I don't care if you're KD or you're some bench player, you're gonna get the fine and you're gonna have the same treatment.
I mean, look, Marcus Smart one time, out of just frustration, punched a picture in the tunnel and like it ended up, just almost ruining his hand and thus ending his career. And he got held accountable for that. It doesn't go away. He got fined. He came out and he apologized. Not that people saw him, but for the behavior. And he promised to do better, and he has been. He hasn't punched any more pictures. He hasn't, gone off on
in front
any
of the cameras anyway.
Whatever happened in the locker room in the playoffs, people heard that, but it was, it was but that was a moment between the team, and it didn't get like personal. He, did a holler, y'all got me effed up, and basically called him out. But that's different.
Yeah.
I saw an article today, just to be more, just kind of get something a little relevant. Just today, I believe yesterday, Kyrie Irving and Dennis Schroeder got into a little altercation. I believe they both got ejected. But Kyrie Irving was saying that Dennis Schroeder used the N-word on him, and so the league is investigating that as well. And so that's just something that within certain communities, you've always heard, well, they can say that. Well, no, I think I like what the NBA is saying. There's zero tolerance, and Kyrie pretty much said, hang on, see if I can find that real quick. The N-word is a derogatory racial slur. It will never be a term of endearment, reclaimed, flipped. Never forget it's foul in true history. Throw that N-word out the window right alongside all those other races used to describe my people. We are not slaves or ends. And so, I like what Kyrie Irving said right there, and I agree that, hey, if it's used in that in a derogatory way, especially in a game in trash talking, there's no place for that, and I think the NBA is going to hit him with the fine as well.
I mean, if you're gonna slap $50,000 on KD for some DMs, I mean, there's no way they let that go off, right on the court. So
yeah,
I'm all about holding people accountable. Be better, do better. Be better, know better, do better.
Yeah,
an apology without a changed behavior is not an apology.
Yeah, that apology was kind of weak in my opinion. So absolutely like a flagrant foul for me on KD, on just the apology. It's just because Stone, the KD defender would defend KD in this, but
I was the only one. I was the only one right now who literally called the guy soft. I was this close to using cupcake, but I don't use that term. I called him soft. Like, come on.
Cupcakes are delicious.
Yeah, I like Nick's first text message. I think whenever he sent it, or when we were sending within the group text message, he was like, "He's KD." Like, seriously, KD? He's KD. Why?
Yeah.
Like, bro, Bro, your name is trending on Twitter. People are going to see it. If you don't want it on social media or subpoenaed in court, don't text it. Don't send it.
Yeah, and I remember saying this in the group too, is that, 10 years ago when, social media first became big and everything, or maybe even 10 plus years now, but, I understood that they weren't used to that, keeping their stuff off of electronic devices, electronically. And now in this day and age, I think every player knows, do not put that stuff out there. And KD, in his ignorance, or maybe in his blindness of his greatness, he just put it out there and didn't care.
Yeah, well, now everyone just got a clear reminder.
Yeah,
don't be saying stuff like that because you get blasted. That's $50,000. So I don't care how much money you make.
$50,000 is $50,000. Yeah.
Right.
$50,000 and sensitivity training.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't care how much money I got. If I could be Jeff Bezos rich, if I got to give up $50,000 of something I said, I'm just saying.
You start looking like that Dave Chappelle meme where he's got the crown on and he's like,
right, yeah,
with
100%.
his money.
Over some DMs? What the heck? 50 grand? All right.
There you go. All right, so last on this topic, we're going to be talking about the Lakers and the Raptors scuffle that happened here in the last.
Oh, me and Stone talked about this one.
Stone, if you want to hit the clip.
I sent it to him.
They say play on, length of the court, and that's a foul. Oh, whoa.
That should be a flagrant.
Whoa, look out. That was OG. And that is a wrestling move, taking down Schroeder.
Schroeder was holding him up, and I don't know what he was thinking. He actually almost ended up body slamming Schroeder. The officials will look at this. If they review this, I'm very interested to see what the outcome will be.
And restoring order as both benches spill on to the court.
I mean, Schroeder does a good job of preventing the layup, but and holding him. He's holding him right there so he doesn't fall. Now he gets up and that's just ridiculous.
And look at Trez coming in. Trez is coming in there. Gary Trent was in the middle of it too.
Yeah, but the third man in usually is the guy that gets penalized the most. So we'll see who they rule as the third man in. Is that going to be Trez or is it going to be Gary Trent?
Here's player altercation. Personal foul on Schroeder. Plays under further review.
All right, they're going to take a look at.
All right.
Yeah, so that was some bullshit. Like,
all right, out of the entire scuffle, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, separate them, but ultimately, Schroeder was trying to practice good sportsmanship. Like, oh yeah, I got the, you prevented the layup, but I don't want you smacking your face all over the floor. And whether it was intentional or not, OG that wasn't cool. Like, just dude, keep your hands up. And I don't think that Harrell should have been ejected at all. Like, at most, slap him with a foul, but he was coming to his teammates' defense. Like, bro, he was trying to practice good sportsmanship. Get the hell off of him. I think that was just bullshit.
I don't know. I think if this was 80s, 90s, it would have been a play on.
It would have been play
100%.
on. It would have been play on. It would have been play on because somebody at one point had freaking Larry Bird in a rear naked choke, and then literally 2 minutes later, it was like, okay, we're playing again. Like, nobody got ejected.
I don't know if it was meant to be as harsh. Like, yeah, he lifted him up by his leg, but it's like, in the moment he was fired up, maybe because it seemed like he realized it as soon as he did it, because he was like trying to stop and pick people up, but it wasn't until all the team came scuffling in that everything started really blowing up at that point, because now it's like the hornet's nest got stirred up. And so sometimes I feel like the reaction of all the other players kind of blows up the situation more than what it was. And I just think it was two players made a hard play, and one player got kind of too intense in it and realized it for a split second after he had already lifted him up, because you can see he's like, oh god, I did that, I just did that, and realized what he had done was wrong. And we all make mistakes like that, but I think the big issue there was all the teammates coming in and pushing each other and storming the court, and that magnified the intensity even more than what it was. So I'm gonna say play on, but that's just,
I mean, I'm with you. I'm 100% like, unless someone just gets straight punched in the face, like, I'm for just let them play. But I think the refs, this is been one of my biggest gripes with the refs, is I think they, I think once everyone came off the benches, that's when the refs started like, okay, someone's got to get a tech here. And me personally, I don't understand how you give Harrell a tech. Like, he literally did nothing wrong. Like, you can say, well, he came in and pushed the guy, but it's like, yeah, because that's what a teammate's supposed to do when his teammate is getting essentially body slammed on the court. Like, you don't just stand there and watch it happen. You know what I mean?
Well,
So, I mean,
well,
you know. No, go ahead.
Schroeder already said that the Lakers were going to go ahead and take care of that fine for him, because if they decide to stick with it,
help the guy.
And that's exactly what they were saying, was that they're going to take care of Harrell's fine if he gets one, because he was coming to he had his back.
Yeah,
they're not going to. They're going to take care of it.
There was only one person that needed to be ejected from the game, like one, and. I will never understand the refs' line of thinking in that whole thing.
Well, at the end of the day, like 3 people ended up suspended. Van Vliet got suspended because he came. They came off the bench.
Right.
I get it. That's against the rules. Don't
rules
come.
Is rules.
Yeah, rules is rules. You get so much leeway, but everybody coming off the bench like that and kind of making the situation worse, go ahead and suspend them. I get it. But as far as what triggered that, they should have just. It was a situation that got out of control, and honestly, I think the refs
like,
made it worse.
if you want to eject Anunoby out, like, for what he did to, like, I get that makes sense to me, but
right, I agree.
To eject Harrell and it is beyond insane to me, because these refs, what do you expect a teammate to do when you watch your teammate, essentially get body slammed, and it didn't look like a hard, like, he didn't just like pick him up and just, you know what I mean, but like when you witness your teammate like go through that after he was literally just trying to help the guy, like, you're sure you're gonna be there, you're gonna be in those guys' face, like, what are you doing? But my gripes with the referees go for a bunch, and it kind of falls into NBA rules and stuff, but there's a list, so it's just one of those things.
Schroeder's over here like, see if I keep you from smacking your face on the
floor.
Right,
like
again.
and that's the thing too. Like, next time, Schroeder may just let a dude face plant. You know what I mean?
See, it makes me think that Schroeder is just a straight up, like, he's a great trash talker, because just seeing what Kyrie said, and then this game before, I think this game was before when Kyrie played him, and so I don't know if Schroeder just got in what's his name's head, and so when that happened, he was like, all right, he got physical, and then realized in the moment, oh man, I shouldn't have taken it that far. So I agree with you, Stone, that if anyone's to be ejected, it was going to be what's his name, OG.
Yeah, Anunoby.
Thank you. Yeah, not the other players. The players are just sticking up, because it did just. I mean, if I don't know, because sometimes I look at some of these players and they, like, what was his name? I think it was Trent Jr. Came off for pushing around. It's like, whoa, dude, you don't need to be pushing a Schroeder back. I mean, that was a little aggressive there. And so with all those aggressive moves, it just started building and building and building really fast. I mean, so fast that it was hard to really pick that apart without actually looking at a replay like we can do now. My knee-jerk reaction was, what the heck, just unplay? What's going on here? What's this argument? Then it just blew up from there, and I was like, whoa, that escalated quickly.
Maybe they should have just let him fight.
Right? Let's make this like hockey. Just let him go.
Let's go back. At the very least, let's go back to the 80s and just let these dudes go at it for a little while, do the whole breakup thing, and then just be like, all right, who are we letting shoot? Like, that should really be the end of it. Like, unless someone just gets, just complete, like, full-on football tackled out there and is just getting wailed on, like, just let's go back to how it used to be,
Less threes, more fights. I've been saying it for, 10 years now.
I was gonna say, I mean, it would have to be the 80s, because I was gonna say any of the fouling and the fighting past the 80s into the 90s into the 2000s. I mean, you guys watch NBA players fight. It was really, really, really crappy. In fact, not too long ago, Nate Robinson got knocked out. So I mean, the fighting in the NBA is not that good. So
I mean, well, especially not now, because they're not allowed to. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like in the 80s, like, when they're not playing basketball, they're going to a gym somewhere and they're just learning how to box. They're like, hey, because, I want to know how to defend myself. Someone starts trying to fight me out here. So, yeah.
I believe that was Kevin Garnett's workout, was he started boxing and late in his career.
Yeah.
And
self-defense, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That explains why he would punch the goal every time.
I mean, he was playing in Boston, so he had to probably, get some self-defense.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. Here's what
fair.
it is.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, I mean, out of that scuffle, OG Anunoby was fined $30,000. Harrell was fined $20,000. DeAndre Bembry, Van Fleet, and THT were all basically not ejected, but will be suspended for 1 game for coming off the bench. So
now I will say that is consistent on that because I remember I think it was when the Spurs were playing the Suns in the Western Conference semifinals when Ori hip checked Nash. I believe it was Stoudemire that stood up off of the one of their players. I think it was Stoudemire that stepped up, or one of their guys, and the league did respond him for stepping off the bench onto the court. And I've seen them make that call a few times, so that is very consistent with their ruling on that.
Unless it's, I can't remember the Heat's head coach. Was it
Van
Spoelstra? No, Spoelstra. When OKC and Miami were in the finals, there is a picture, and you could argue maybe it's Photoshop, but there is a pretty blatant picture of Spoelstra standing like on the court while they're in play, and I'm just like,
I think I remember that.
Like, where you at, refs? Like, come on.
Brad Stevens did it too one time. He ran out. He was pissed. He ran out into the middle of the court and was like, "Get the!" And we were like, "Mad Brad."
Was that the time where he started to call a timeout?
Yeah. Yeah, he's done it a few times. He's just pissed. And honestly, as Boston fans, we love Mad Brad. Let him get pissed off. It is the funniest thing. And it's like, God, it's like watching when your sibling is getting blamed for something you did, and they're getting yelled at, and you're out of trouble, and you're do it again.
All right. So you guys got anything else you guys want to say about any of these with Westbrook and all that stuff?
Nah.
You know what's interesting? We'll go ahead and wrap up here in a little bit. What's interesting, because we were talking about Westbrook, you guys were talking about Westbrook, and some few things that KD has said more recently nowadays is that he's saying that he doesn't play for championships anymore, that he's only wanting to play to be the best player that he can possibly be on the court and play as much as he can. That's a more recent statement that's come out here in the last couple of days, I think.
I think he's plateaued, and that's what he wants to. That's just the narrative he's trying to go with.
Is that the narrative he's going with? It's weird though, right? To go to a Nets team that basically who became a super team and not really say that he wants to care about championships.
Exactly. Like it's like, well,
and maybe that's just a thing for him where he's like, I'm gonna say this that way. If we don't, I won't feel so bad about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a way to just be like, hey, if we don't win one, we don't win one. I'm just here to play basketball. Like, if I feel like that's what it is, because again, this is just my opinion. If you're in the NBA and your mindset isn't to win a title, what are you doing in the NBA?
I feel like it may be the play like the ancient Romans used to do, where I think it was the ancient Romans where, the big wig would be given the speech and there'd be somebody behind him going, "You're going to die one day," just to like keep him humble. I feel like he's just trying to do that to himself.
You're right. Like, he's just trying to make sure that like maybe he didn't get his hopes up, that way if it doesn't happen, it doesn't hurt as much. But again, like, and this isn't just a basketball thing. This is any competitive anything. Like, if you're not trying to be the best at it, why are you doing it? And I mean, that's just my opinion. Like, if you're going to be in any kind of sport or any sort of competitive anything, like, if your goal isn't to be the best, then why are you competing at that level? It's just how I feel about it. Like, in gaming, if you're playing in tournaments, but your mentality is, I just wanted to see how far I would go, I'm not really interested in winning, then why are you in it?
I'm just here to have fun.
Yeah, like, that's
It doesn't. It
I ain't
doesn't
about that
work.
life. Like that's just not who I am. Like if I'm in a tournament, I'm in it to try and win. There is no middle ground. There is no, well, I'm here to have fun and see. No, I'm here to win. And
That's why I stream, is to have fun. I'm not getting paid millions and millions and freaking millions of dollars to have the most high quality uniforms and equipment and medical care and this, that, and the other, to just have fun. If I wanted to have fun, I'd go over there and play. I
Right.
wouldn't do it at this level.
And Nick can vouch for me because he could definitely tell this last weekend. Like, I honest to God tried to just have fun in Call of, and I cannot do it in Call of Duty. I can't. I cannot do it. I have to win. And if I don't, it's just it's annoying to me. Now I can handle a loss for the most part, but there are just some instances where it's just like this is crap, like absolute crap. And
Don't lie, Ricky Bobby. You can't lose.
Yeah, and people will, and I think Jopa, a buddy of ours, he streams too, had a thing on Twitter where he was asking about like, what's your main drive like in Call of Duty? Is it have a high kill game but maybe not get a win, or is it just focusing on the win, not worrying about kills? And I was like, in my mind, for me it's both. Like if I get a win but I don't have a single kill, like to me I just feel like that's the most worthless win ever because I did absolutely nothing to contribute to the win.
Freeloader.
Exactly. But like if we lose and I have like 15 kills, I still feel like crap because I'm like, that's a win. Like we should have won. Like my mentality is 100% to win. It's not about having fun when it's competitive. And so for guys to say that where I'm just, I'm here to play basketball, I'm here to have fun. It's like, then why are you in the NBA? Like it should be title or nothing. I can understand circumstance. I can understand you being on a team that maybe, it's not built for a title or something like that. But even in those situations, your mentality should be title always. At some point, win a title.
Maybe
guys.
maybe they need to all sit down and listen to Susan's diner speech in Talladega Nights where she's going on about it. You win, Ricky, you win.
Oh man.
There you go.
That clip
All right,
gets me
guys.
hyped up.
Thank you guys. We'll have to play that clip every time when we start a show now.
Do it.
Thank you guys for all joining us. We just want to say thank you to the people who showed up on the chat too, as well, Kage and everybody else too, as well. And as always, you guys can catch us live here on Twitch if you're from YouTube. Catch us live here on Twitch around 8-ish, 8:30-ish.
Yeah, heavy on the ish.
Yeah. On Twitch TV at JRobles44, and you can catch us on YouTube at Courtside Central. But we'd love to hear from you guys. We are an interactive show. We'd love to hear from you guys. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to talk to us. But thank you, Shadow, for joining us in our Misfit group. As again, you are our resident tank girl. Love having you on as always.
Thank you for having me. I always have a blast.
And we'll catch you guys on the next episode of Courtside Central next Monday.
Okay, yeah.
See ya.
Thank you, guys.